guys and gals, Nary here from Drake Wing Gaming, and something on Twitter, the Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming back at you with a Let's Play episode of Repeat, Owen's Path. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump right back into it, shall we? Alarm chain, you were up, and let's go. Hell yeah, quite a view. I scoffed and grabbed the hydrogen peroxide off the kitchen table. Don't think you can just change the subject by stripping. Owen shrugged. Yeah, it was worth a shot. I kneeled down close to Owen's abdomen and gently dabbed at the canvas of cuts that littered his body. Now that I'm up close, I could clearly see the mess of old scars that were well hidden under his fur. Made me feel a little sick. So, your family's trying to kill you? Isn't this something you'd want to tell the police? What do you know about the Loreleis? Well, they're one of the oldest and richest families in the city. They're a huge family and have a lot of influence. Not just any kind of influence. Political influence, business influence, and criminal influence. Not to mention how they basically own the police in the city. Reporting them to the cops wouldn't do me much good. Oh. I gingerly applied medical cream to Owen's bruised arms. So why does your family want you dead? You're just a kid. Owen grumbled uncomfortably. That's a long story that I'm not going to talk about. Here's your Goodreads synopsis. I'm in a strained relationship with the rest of the family. I try to stay out of their way most of the time, and usually they ignore me in turn. But now they want to fill me with bullet holes for some reason. Owen spoke so cheerfully that I almost thought he was joking. And that concludes my little explanation. It's probably best if you didn't ask any more questions. I sighed heavily as I finished bandaging him up. If you say so. I do say so. Let's go back to simpler times where we just blindly flirted at each other. Speaking of which, Owen smirked seductively again. I've got something else that needs your medical attention. I glanced down to see the growing bulge in Owen's pants. Again, it was a nice view, but he was just doing this to change the subject. I reached down and gave the bulge a light flick. Owen nearly jumped out of his seat with a wince. Adrian, how could you? You don't mess with a man's treasure like that. That's what you get for being so secretive and whatnot. Owen begrudgingly put his jacket back on before standing up and stretching lazily. After adjusting his bandages slightly, Owen made his way towards the door. Well, thanks for patching me up, Adrian, but I gotta go now. I've got a few things I need to check on, privately. Are you talking about your dick or your secretive stuff? Why not both? I sighed and gave him a stern glare. Just make sure to stay safe, okay? I don't want to find you all beat up again. Will do. Owen gave me a not-so-reassuring thumbs up before disappearing down the hall. I sat alone in the kitchen with the first aid kit weighing heavily on my lap. There were still so many unanswered questions. If Owen wouldn't give me any answers, I'd have to find them somewhere else. The gears in my brain were grinding steadily as I strolled down the school hallways. Teachers and students were scurrying around me in preparation for Visitors' Day, but they were just background noise in my mind. The more pressing issue is that Owen was in danger. Second, yeah? I'm gonna crack one open. Hell yeah. I couldn't just ignore what happened today simply because Owen asked nicely. What I needed now was more information about the families Owen was talking about, the Loreleis and the Adleis. Apparently they were in some deep criminal activity that Owen didn't want to talk about. Luckily, I knew someone who might have some answers. Now, if only I could find the class he's usually in. Here it is. Oh, good. It's mostly empty, too. Here goes nothing. There were only two people in the room as I quietly slid inside. Their familiar voices were hushed in deep conversation. My ears perked as I approached them curiously. Well, I gotta do something with these Black Cat fan letters. Something doesn't mean give them to Philip. Ever heard of papier-mâché? You mean you don't actually read them? What did you do with the last batch of letters I left you? Where do you think all those paper planes I launched through your window came from? I'm not gracing these people with a response. Most of them are creepers anyhow. I see what you mean. This one's return address is a badly drawn stick figure flipping you off. Oh, that's from Morse. I'll take it. His art anatomy is atrocious. That's what you're concerned about. I'll let Morse know when I see him again. That guy needs to work on his... Ginny suddenly spotted me listening in and beamed, waving at me enthusiastically. Oh, hey there, Ghostbuster. Nice to see you still alive. Hi, Ginny. Nice to see you trespassing around the school again. Hey, I had Philip invite me on campus this time around, see? I'm an official guest now. No harm, no foul. Except your doctor will probably shit a brick if he knew you snuck out again. He's got enough bricks to build a shit castle by now. He should get used to it. I stared between Philip and Ginny curiously. They seem awfully familiar with each other. I didn't realize you were close. How did that happen? Oh, I've been a close friend, occasional nuisance to Philip since forever. It's a long story. Ginny elbowed Philip to add to the said story. He sighed and shrugged. I broke my wrist when I was little. Ginny and I ended up sharing a hospital room together. And then we committed some crimes. She's been dragging me into her little adventures ever since. Ginny grinned and jabbed an eager finger against my chest. Speaking of adventures, you still owe me a tour of the school after our little ghost-busting fiasco. Oh, great. She's captured you too, Adrian. Good luck. Most of her adventures end in bruised skin and dignity. Speaking of bruised skin, I need to ask a favor. I glanced between the two of them, carefully picking my words. So, Philip, you're the black cat. Ginny feigned a confused look while Philip raised an eyebrow suspiciously. Philip? The black cat? There's no way. Is this about the conversation from earlier? We were just joking around, you know. Ginny, he knows. Ginny blinked at me in surprise. Really? Adrian knows? When did that happen? I kinda got shot by our old English teacher. Ooh, you mean the old rat Dolores? I always knew there was something fishy about that guy. I'm glad to hear he's finally behind bars now. Anyway, why bring this up? What's this favor you're talking about? I swallowed hard as I stared between Philip and Ginny. The two of them suddenly looked very experienced. Well, I think Owen might be in danger. Danger? Explain. I slowly recalled the events of this morning to the two of them. Their faces were knotted with worry as I described how secretive yet casual Owen was acting despite the situation. In short, I was wondering if you two knew anything about the Lorelei and Adlai families. Since you're the Black Cat and all, I kind of figured you know something about a huge family with criminal connections. Philip and Ginny looked at each other in contemplation. Sure, we know a thing or two about the families. It's kind of common knowledge for anyone who's worked for the city's, seedier side. I've had some personal experience with the Lorelei's in particular. I'm not surprised Owen's in a sticky situation, to be honest. The two families were known to be pretty brutal. But Adrian, are you sure you want to get involved? You might get sucked into things you're not ready for. I stared at my feet in silence for a few moments. Yeah, I know. But I can't just stand around and do nothing while Owen fights for his life in the background, you know? I want to help however I can. Philip nodded quietly. I like your drive, Adrian. So, you want to know about the two most powerful families in the city's underworld? Oh boy, story time. Since the beginning of the city's development, there were two powerful families that influenced its development. The Lorelei family and the Adlai family. They were two massive crime syndicates that constantly fought to gain the upper hand of the city's political and business environment. The two families rose to power through wits, bribery, brutality, and exploiting government officials. The list goes on. You can probably already tell, but the two families absolutely hated each other. They were practically two rival empires with roots throughout the city's government and business sectors. The law means absolutely nothing to them. Hell, they probably believe that they are the law. The Lorelei family had no qualms when gathering thugs to smash the Adlai's businesses and slash up their family members. The Adlais would then gather hitmen to take out government officials supporting the Lorelei's. And so the cycle continues. It's a pretty bloody relationship, and it lasted for decades. It's also probably why crime is so widespread in the city. There's never a shortage of employers. I scratched my head with a frown as I slowly tried to take in all this new information. Quick question. I've definitely heard of Lorelei's here and there, but I've never heard anyone mention the Adlai family until today. Whatever happened to them? Really? You don't know? You should read the newspapers more often, Adrian. Hey, I read the comics section occasionally. Unfortunately, there was an incident about 20 years ago. There was a huge Adlai family reunion or something of the sort. The Lorelei family took this opportunity to raid the whole place and then blow up the building. Only one Adlai survived the incident. Ooh. She later mysteriously died of illness several years later. So that means... Yep, the Lorelei's are the only ones running the city now. It's kind of shitty how they can do whatever they want, but there's been a steady decrease of violence in the city since the rivalry ended. Say that to Owen and the thugs that keep chasing after him. I never said the violence completely stopped, but I have to admit, the city's become a lot more peaceful since the whole rivalry thing disappeared. Oh, 1 second, y'all. One second, y'all. Call in few. Calling a few. There we go. Okay. But I have to admit, the city's become a lot more peaceful since the whole rivalry thing disappeared. Not peaceful enough, if you ask me. If the Lorelei family was such a large power in the city, that meant they were uncontested in anything they did. My hopes of helping Owen in any way were slowly diminishing. I guess this whole situation is a bit out of our league, isn't it? Hey, don't look so worried. There's still a way we can help. Yes, please quit moping, Adrian. You're bringing down the mood. I shot the two of them a wry smile. You two got a plan? Half of a plan, really. In these situations, information is our main form of currency. Right now, we need to know why the Lorelei family suddenly wants Owen dead after years of ignoring him. Once we know why, we can start figuring out a way to change their minds. I nodded slowly. Philip did have a point. But how are we going to find this information? I'm the Black Cat, remember? I have a partner in crime who works as an informant. A very reputable and respected one, actually. He buys and sells information for a living, after all. He'll be able to help us out. I'll ask him to pull a few favors for us. That's good to hear. Is there anything I can do to help right now? Philip grimaced and stared between me and Jenny. No, just sit tight and don't do anything stupid. Seriously? And knowing you two, you'll probably do something rash and end up ass-deep in trouble. Just stay out of things until we know more about the situation, okay? Jenny made a face that screamed, "Oh great, here comes Mother Hen." She gave Philip a thumbs up. It was kind of thumbs up you give to placate a fussy parent. It was also the kind of thumbs up that it contained zero reassurance whatsoever. Sure, boss, whatever you say. Now go talk to your informant. I need a word with Adrian. What, right now? Yes, now. Time is of the essence. Jenny playfully nudged a reluctant Philip out the door and shut it behind him. I raised an eyebrow as she turned towards me. What's that all about? It's about Owen. Jenny glanced toward the door to make sure Philip was gone before returning to me. You wanted to help, right? I want you to stay with Owen until this whole thing is over. Like a little bodyguard, if you will. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and pause it right there. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and check out our Patreon if you can. It always helps. Anyway, I love you all, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye!